this is a good. Okay, I would not. Reading a book is one thing. Like, oh, hey, I recommend this book, right? I'm gonna recommend this book because it's awesome. I think it's for you. But your system, you're a coach, right? You sat down with me and you asked me questions about what do you want? Like what are you looking for? And I wanted to get past the fear of selling and to get out there. And you instantly, like this, you're like, this book, this book, this book, this book. And I was like, you know what I recommend? And you kept listening to me. You were coming up with your own map of what would help me. And, we get thrown so many books from every direction, but the quality of your your listening skills really takes effect because you're like, I know what you need to focus on, but not because but it's because you're seeing something and you're putting that together and you're helping. You're putting the puzzle together and you're assisting. And I think that's the power of team building too, and so I appreciate that, entrepreneur to a new amateur entrepreneur, putting the pieces together and hey, let's work it together. And I appreciate that. So super cool.
You put that so eloquently. You paint such a good picture for anyone listening. That's awesome because it is the listening's important. Having read the books, having gone through it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
did you feel like that helped in terms of, because like you said, there's a lot of books, but the thing I
Mm-hmm.
tried to do was give you very intentional, because I'm almost skeptical with book recommendations from my own. I have to like really hear
Yeah.
the core data points, like your why, like what's happening.
Uh-huh. Well, the year that you mentioned that all you did was read, you read all the books that are business and everything. It really uh, provides me as the consumer or the buyer with a bit more steadiness to be like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. And it's not like, oh yeah, that book would be great. I heard about it. No, you're like, I read that book, and that book is for you because this is what you're saying, and this is exactly what that book has, and this is exactly what it may just help. And whether I take your advice for it or not, because it was up to me to purchase the books, it was up to me to decide to actually read the books. And you set a little bit of that foundation, and then like, okay, I mean, it's like a helping hand, right? It was your contribution. So you're really good at being a contributor when it comes to the books. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. The way I see it is you did most of the work, almost all of it. It's like 2 degrees. It's like let's learn 2 degrees. Let's
But
improve the productivity, but also yeah, it's like let's get it aligned so you can just, because the right books
yeah.
you actually rip through at 3,000% if they're like covering things that would improve people.
Yes, and I want to also mention that the price you pay is it, it doesn't it's hard to put in words because I paid for something that was way more expensive. I spent a whole year doing it, and I learned a lot. But I didn't know what I wanted out of it, and nobody sat down with me to have that like you did, Uh, you provided a service that made it easier for me to follow through because you listened to what it is that I needed. And I mean, that's quite the quality.
Thank you. And you, um, working with you, anyone would love working with you because you make it. Some people don't make it easy to help them find like the why or want or don't want to share, because it's really hard to help people that don't want to change. You do. You do want to go. You do have the.
Yeah, yeah, and but you provided that space too. You provided that space. Like I knew I wanted to read, so I reached out to you, on the website, and you responded so quickly. I was like, wow, I was like, awesome, and you followed up with me, and you could feel that energy, and I think that has a lot of power in it. Is feeling that, but also not giving up on those who may not be on that path, but you could kind of guide them in the direction they need, or maybe this is just an introduction. Like I had my previous introduction where I spent a lot of money on something else. That was my introduction to entrepreneurship, and I dove in to the shallow end. I didn't just walk in; I dove. I hit my head a few times, but you learn.
Mhm.
You learn from it, and so, and I'm glad that didn't break me, you know. Still here. So, and I bumped into you. If I would have given up, I would have never been. I would have still stashed a bunch of books and not read them. So, yeah,
Oh, yeah. There's so many poor abandoned books.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Sweet.